Hi Mason families, it's Jonathan Cooper here, and I'm here in a classroom today because I want to just give our families an update on where we are with quarantines and COVID-19. Here is some good news. The good news that we've noticed after 5 weeks of being in school is that we have not seen a dramatic uptick in the positive cases throughout our school. And we're so grateful for that. That is something that we wondered about and worried a little bit about during the summer, but now that we've collected data over 5 weeks, we've recognized that we don't have an uptick in positive cases. Currently, we actually only have a total of 8 positive cases throughout the entire district of 10,500 students. So that's working, and the thing that's working for us here in the in-person learning is that kids are wearing masks. Teachers are wearing masks. We wear masks when we're on the campus here at Mason Middle School, Mason High School, and throughout the district. So we are very encouraged by what we're seeing with that data. But there is one challenge that we are really running into a difficult moment right now, and that is with quarantine. We opened our schools with the understanding that 3-foot distance with a mask is a safe way to open. And we worked with our health department, we worked with the state department to do that. And that's what schools are doing across the state, is they're opening with that understanding with 5 days in full for in-person learning. However, there is a rule that is out there, and it's part of the quarantine process. The quarantine process, remember, is if you are in the proximity of someone with a positive case for 15 minutes at a time or more. In that proximity, that distance is 6-foot distance. Well, there's no schools across the state of Ohio that can spread out 6 feet in all of their classrooms across the district. That's why that 3-foot distance was recognized as a safe distance. As you can see in this room alone, our chairs are about 5 feet apart. They're 4 or 5 feet apart, and that's pretty typical throughout our entire district. However, when you look at a 6-foot distance, that means everyone that's sitting in proximity of a positive case gets quarantined. And what a quarantine does is it places a student outside at their home. They have to go home for 14 days. So the big concern there, as you can imagine, is it has an impact on the student's mental wellness. It has an impact on the student's academic success, because the student is no longer connected to the classroom that they signed up for. They're no longer a part of that specific conversation. The teachers are doing their best to connect with the student through the quarantine connector, but it's just not the same, and we're hearing that. We're doing our best to get better at that. But as you move kids out of the in-person instruction in which they signed up for 14 days at a time, that's hard. It's hard on the teacher, it's hard on the student, it's hard on their classmates. And so that's something that we're noticing as a pattern. And if we could change that, we would, because we do see that the 3-foot distance is working. We do not see an uptick in positive cases. However, we are not allowed to change that rule. So I'm working diligently with our local health department, with the state department, with the governor, to reconsider a controlled environment like this with masks 100% of the time. Could we consider something a little different? In the meantime, while we're waiting to see if there's going to be any changes made around that, we are looking at some alternative solutions. And those solutions, there's a wide variety, and we're trying to be as creative as we can to try to help ease the concern around quarantine. At our high school is where we're seeing the major issue, and let me explain what that looks like there. Currently, we have around 190 students who are quarantined at home. We are not seeing any students that are quarantined actually come out with symptoms. So that's the concern. The kids are at home feeling well and not having symptoms. So that's why we know the masks are working. However, we would like to have those students in person because that's where they signed up to do their learning. We have 262 students who have already gone through quarantine who have actually returned, and they're in jeopardy of a second quarantine, which would actually place them out of our school for 28 days, because the 14 days for the original quarantine and then a second quarantine would be another 14 days. You could imagine how that takes away from their academic connectivity to their classroom, and that's very difficult for us to watch, especially students who are on AP courses and other courses where they need to be there to see that, to connect. It also impacts their extracurricular connection as well, which that's where that mental health comes into play. We have athletes out there that are missing 2 or 4 different games during their season, and these are shortened seasons. We have others that are part of band and other extracurriculars that are are jeopardized to miss some of those things as well during quarantine. So we just wanted to share with you that we are working diligently as a team to come up with solutions. So I wanted to also just give you a heads up, because one of those solutions would be moving to a hybrid schedule. And a hybrid schedule at our high school, it's not an easy decision. What a hybrid schedule would do is it would place 50% of our students in the classroom at a time so that we could really make sure that we always had 6 foot distance, so we could start to move away from that quarantine issue that we're running into. The issue with that is, and the reason it's a difficult decision, because it impacts all students and all families. The students are here every other day. It changes the bell schedule from a block schedule that we have now to a 7-bell schedule. So it's very disruptive. That decision's difficult. But if we can't ease the quarantine issue and it becomes more difficult for us to manage and to connect our kids, and we see this as a real difficulty with mental health and everything else that's going on, then we may be in a position to make that decision sooner than later. So we just want to let you know that we're considering lots of options. If we see a change in the state direction and an alternative approach, we will let you know right away. So please know that our primary goal is safety. We know right now, based on our data, it seems our masks are working great. Our positive case rates are not going up, but the quarantine concern is something we need to address. So just wanted to share with you transparently where we are. Please continue to ask great questions and let your kids know that this is what we're working on. And if you're watching this video and you know that you have friends out there that have not watched this video, please spread accuracy. Please share this information with others so that our community knows the facts and knows what's going on. Thanks so much.